guys, Fire here, and thanks for joining me as I share my review for Cat Pipes. This game is currently available in the Xbox store. I don't quite yet know a price for the game, unfortunately, but I'll give you my thoughts near the end of the video on what I think a decent price might be. It's developed by Tribus Games and published by AFIL Games. And what is Cat Pipes? It's a simplistic little puzzle game where it takes place over 45 levels. I've done a good majority of them here, so I feel like I've played enough of the game to be able to talk to you guys about it. So the way the game works is the controls are pretty simple. You basically have to line up these kind of pipes to power up cats. I know, weird kind of concept, but you're basically powering up cats to complete out simplistic puzzles. Now, I do like how the game kind of ramps up the puzzles. It has some interesting kind of ways it does things, but it never really does a good job of explaining any kind of context or any kind of the way things work. You kind of have to just figure it out by itself. There is a tutorial, but honestly, you're probably just not gonna even mindlessly fight through the tutorial. I think the puzzles are decent. I honestly wish they were a little harder, as the game does kind of start to lean toward a little bit more complex puzzles as you progress through it, but it ultimately gets into kind of a lackluster experience as the puzzles just get almost like repetitive or just easy. There's never really any new mechanisms introduced, and when you get kind of into like the bigger puzzles in around like the later teens, higher 20s of the puzzles, they actually tend to get a little hard to see. The game doesn't really, at least from what I've been able to find, give you any real way to kind of zoom in on the puzzles, so you're kind of just stuck wondering, like having to like kind of squint. Like if you don't have like a really solid TV, I think most people are going to kind of struggle playing the game. If you have a bigger TV and not necessarily like a smaller monitor, you shouldn't have too much worries with the game. Although, you know, it's enjoyable, it's decent, but it's a pretty tame puzzle game. I would like to have seen a little more like mechanisms introduced into the game, different ways things would kind of interact with each other, aside from it just being this simple rotation of the pipes. I do like that there are introductions of pipes you just don't really need, so they're kind of like red herrings, but it's, I don't know, it makes me wish there was a little more to the game than what's kind of here, and because of that, for me, it's hard to get too excited for the game, just as it gets really dry as you begin to play through it, and seems a little bit more like an achievement grab than, you know, a really in-depth puzzle game that would give you a good overall experience while playing. I think if the game lands in anywhere at a price point, I'd say around, let's see, anywhere around like $4 or $5, it's an okay pickup for a good probably half an hour to an hour play, but anything much beyond that, I definitely recommend probably passing on this game, but consider checking out some of the other games that AFIL Games has produced. Outside of that, guys, I'd love to know what you think of my review down below in the comments. Do you agree with me wanting to see a little more mechanisms introduced into the game versus just kind of the same repetitive stuff? Or do you have another puzzle game you'd recommend? Outside of that, guys, thanks for checking out my channel, and I hope to see you again soon.